Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rainy Nights, this segment of my YouTube channel where I interview other motor vloggers and motorcycle personalities. If you haven't been here before, I am Rainy Rider. I ride a 2019 BMW Grand America and a 2021 Harley Sportster. Feel free to give the channel a like and a subscribe. Tonight we have Small Bore Two Wheels. Would you like to introduce yourself?
How are you guys doing? I'm Small Bore Two Wheels. I have a small channel that really deals with scooters and mini bikes. A little different than what you guys have seen in the past few weeks.
All right, so where are you from and what do you ride?
So I currently live in the Houston area, and it's a suburb outside of Houston called Katy. And I have a Honda Ruckus, which is actually sitting next to me. It's a little bit in pieces. And if you can see in the background, I have the frame for a CT70 that I'm going to be doing a resto mod on. So definitely smaller CC than all of your previous guests.
Well, if you've seen any of mine, a lot of my guests really like those small bikes. Matter of fact, a couple of them are on 70s and 90s. So yeah, this is right up everybody's alley. So don't think you're not on the fringes, man. You're right in the middle of the shit. So
it's all about just miles per mile, you know.
It is.
Go you will never be mean mugging when you're going on a scooter.
You can't. You can't.
When I have my helmet on, I smile so much the whole time that my cheeks feel like this the whole time because I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, and I have seen, I'm sure you have too, so the West Coast scene, there's whole ruckus tribes, and I'm talking 20, 30, 40, and they're so
Portland,
customized.
Yeah. There's a big group of people up in Oregon and in the Portland area. There's a few of them down in Florida, so they have a ride down to the Keys, and one of the bigger vendors is actually out of Florida as well.
Yeah,
the Ruck Shop is they're called. So
yeah, especially
a lot of stuff comes out of there.
High population areas, I know, because we always say that you can get 2 motorcycles in a regular parking space, but in places in the city you can get 6 of those in a parking space. I mean, it's mine is 6 foot long because it's got a stretch on it and it's lowered and it's got a bigger motor on it. But you can still do a lot of if you park them parallel instead of the same way, perpendicular instead of the way you usually would park. You can fill out the whole parking spot with easily 5 to 6 of them. Yeah, and if you've seen any of you've seen some of the Forgotten Angel footage. That's one of our favorite things to do out there is get scooters and just tear it up because they are so much fun.
Yeah.
Let's see who we got in the chat tonight. So we've got Bleak Rides was the first one in, so congratulations, Bleaks. I'll get you a buff. I'll get you one of the Indy Ridge buffs because you were the first guy in tonight. And then Whiskey Chaser, Bruiser came in. Again, he was with us last night in the big chat. Aaron's here, nothing at random. My Pillion is here, as always. My Pillion is always there for me. And Mon, my guy from the place I used to work, Montravius Alexander. Welcome in, Mon. And then we have you. So if any of you guys have questions, make sure I'm monitoring the chat. So if you have a question, make sure you put a highlighted at Rainy Rider on there. So I'll see it. It'll show up in orange, and I'll be able to get your question. I encourage you guys to talk to each other in the chat because it's freaking awesome. I love when people talk in the chat. So if you got a question for us, though, make sure you highlight it. All right. So are you a fair weather rider or a rough rider in that scooter? I've seen some of your videos. You are literally prepared for everything.
So for the most part, I ride with a fanny pack that has a lot of tools just because in the past I've broken down a lot, and so I need to be ready to troubleshoot in the side of the road or whatever. I prefer to ride when it's not raining, but the first time I ever rode in the rain, it was pretty crazy. It was one of those Texas storms. It was nothing, sun, and all of a sudden just water flooding the whole place. It got so bad that when I would start moving at a light, the rear tail, I would just spin side to side, and I was like, oh man, this is not fun.
I grew up right outside of Beaumont. I grew up between Beaumont and Lake Charles. So yeah, I know all about those Gulf storms. And it's
they just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, perfect day, and all of a sudden it's and no kidding. I tell people this, they don't believe me, but literally raindrops the size of nickels, and it hurts. It hurts when they hit you. So Florida's, I'm sure, is probably the same way.
You go out riding short sleeves, and all of a sudden you're getting held by big raindrops. It hurts. I'm not going as fast as you guys, but when it comes down, it pours.
Oh yeah, when it comes down, it comes down. First question out of the box: are you going to Forgotten Angels? So,
I wish I was. Honestly, this time I'm not. It's definitely one of my my to-do list in the future. But in this particular time, like I can't. There's some family things that I need to make sure to take care of before we can start moving around and stuff.
Yeah. I promise you, if you show up, and you've seen our Discord, if you show up to that Forgotten Angels with that ruckus, it's going to be it's going to be a highlight. People love those things, and yours has a lot of stuff on it. It is gorgeous.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's fun taking it to car shows like Cars and Coffees and stuff when like you show up towards the end of like everybody setting up, and when people start showing up, they start looking at like all the Ferraris and stuff. Big expensive cars, and all of a sudden they see the ruckus, and you take away all those old rich men like attention. It's nothing better than seeing their face.
That's gotta be a cool feeling.
That happens. It's so funny because it's like, I mean, I got some decent amount of money into this, right? So it's not different. Just like a cheap, but it's different. A lot of people haven't seen it, so it's really fun.
Yeah, it's different.
Usually park like next to like the Vanderhaals or the Slingshots, and like a lot of people for some reason go towards there, and like if you're next to them, you'll get a lot of attention, and it's amazing.
That's cool to draw attention away from a Ferrari.
Oh, it's the best feeling first thing in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah, Aaron says he knows what it's like to not go fast. Or what did he say? Yeah, okay. Anyway, Aaron's our guy who drives the 500 Rebel. We give him lots of shit. He's like my little brother, so I don't feel bad about picking on him.
Hey, it's all good, Aaron. I have a 150cc on my Ruckus, so I'm not going that fast.
All right. How did you get into motorcycles?
So when I lived in Colombia, I lived there till I was like 11, and there was a kid in my apartment complex that raced pit bikes. And back then, I was like 7 or 8, and I thought those were like the coolest, biggest bikes in the world. Like I saw them, and I was like, "There's no way!" Like obviously like my family, like we couldn't afford anything like that. Like we're like a middle income household, but like I remember seeing them, and ever since then I'm just like, I need a ride. And eventually, like when we moved to the States, we had apartments, and like I wasn't about to like buy anything to leave outside for people to just pick up or steal, like in the San Antonio area. But after after I graduated from college, and actually in college, there was a group of guys that rode Ruckuses around, and like that's when the bug bit for the Ruckus thing. And like I remember they would dress up as like Super Mario Kart characters, and during Halloween they would go around with like balloons in the back of their scooters and stuff, and with pellet guns they would shoot each other until like I guess they were done. They made it to like Reddit and like the Chive back in the day and stuff. It's pretty fun. So after I was done being a college student and like I got a big boy job, like I actually ended up getting the Ruckus, and that's how I got into them. And man, it's just weird. It's different, but you get the same amount of, I guess, endorphins that you would from a big bike.
Oh yeah,
at least in my opinion.
When you live in the city, when most of your riding is done on back streets and city streets, what else do you need? I mean, you get a 2000cc bike, you're not going to do much with it.
What am I going to do with this monster? Just speed as fast as I can to the next stoplight. Yeah.
All right.
That's how I got into it. And
okay, this is your show, man. So
no, yeah, but that's pretty much how it happened. And I mean, obviously, like you start watching YouTube, and eventually you see people build them and start being like doing videos with them and stuff. And that's kind of how I got into making videos.
So, Aaron says, I think we have a new theme for next year: Ruckus Mario Kart.
It's so much.
I think we can do that. Aaron, you're on. We can do that.
Nice.
All right. So, who inspired you to ride? Who inspires you to get out and get on that bike and go somewhere?
So, I know from your previous interviews, I heard a lot of people talk about Itchy Boots, and so I've heard about her, but I've never watched any videos. And then I started watching her. Man, she's awesome. She goes all over the place and does really cool stuff. And like her bikes aren't that big, right? But
no,
like she's able to do amazing stuff. But I don't know if you know about Ed March from C90 Adventures.
I know about him from Shay Lisi's, one of Shay Lisi's videos.
She's talked about him. Man, he is awesome. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's got like an old school Honda Passport is why he goes around. And he literally does the same routes that the guys from like Ewan McGregor and Charlie do on their big budget I guess series, like long way up, long way around kind of thing. But he just does it in this one, like in like a postie bike is what they call him in like Australia or something. It's just he does everything. He's out in like the middle of nowhere, and in a small bike and like not a care in the world and still doing amazing content.
Yeah, that is some crazy stuff.
Long and it's just, yeah.
I remember
now he has a. Go ahead.
I remember the Itchy Boots episode where she was on. I think she was on the 250, and she was outrunning some of the 700 guys on one of the Baja runs. So she was literally just flying by these guys, and they're all bigger bikes, and they're because they're heavier, they're taking longer through the sand, they're taking longer through some of the traps, and she just tears right through them. And everybody was talking about how awesome she was doing.
And actually, in one of her shows, when she was going, one of her episodes, when she was going, I guess from Patagonia all the way to Alaska, when she went and stayed, and she was around the area where Ed Marsh lived now, somewhere in Utah. He actually went and picked her up.
Okay.
Using one of her videos.
That's right. That was him.
He was just like, yeah. And now he's doing a thing with like a mini Jeep, and he's got like a 125cc motor in it, and he's crossing like some part of Utah, just in it, in the middle of the snow and stuff. You should look him up. He's got some good videos.
Okay, I will look him up. So would you rather...
C90 Adventures.
C90 Adventures. Now I do remember seeing it on Itchy's channel. The stuff on Itchy's channel goes so fast, though. And it's like so much, but yeah. Anyway, so would you rather a solo ride or a group ride? I'm sure you have the group ride with the Ruckuses.
Yeah. So we've had a few group rides, and I've done like the gentleman's ride, like for cancer and everything, which was like hundreds of bikes. Like we were going slow through Houston and stuff. But man, if I could do a group ride that is like between 5 and 6 people tops, I feel like you can do a lot more stuff, and you don't have to worry about people getting stuck in the light. You don't have to worry about people like running crazy. I've done pretty big group rides here with Houston Mini Motos, and you got Groms doing wheelies next to you and stuff. And, I mean, it's fun, but when you're on a bike that like can't outrun the cops like go off road and stuff, like it gets a little scary sometimes.
Speaking
it'll get slower.
So speaking of scary, what is the stupidest thing you've ever done on a motorcycle?
Man, the stupidest thing. So I did a video on this, and right before going to work one day, I used to work night shifts, and I was testing the Ruckus, making sure the brakes were good because I just done the brakes. I did some work on it, and I went around the neighborhood, no helmet, no gear, and I was literally going like 15 miles an hour around the block, and there was some like dirt on the ground in the turns, and I don't know what happened, but I lost like the back wheel just completely lost all traction and went to the side, and I busted my face. Like it was like a week before we went to Spain for a vacation as a family, and like so all of my pictures just like my face is all scabbed over and stuff.
Character.
Like but I mean my wife and like their family like always bring it up. It's like, yeah, remember like last time we went to this like awesome vacation, and all the pictures you have just scabs over your face. But yeah, like not wearing gear, definitely. Like I don't, at this point, like I think after that I even went and rode around with some Ruckuses, and it was like this summer, and I was wearing my pants, and I was wearing like a long sleeve shirt, and like obviously my helmet and my gloves. But what I told the guys, I was like, it's just not worth it. I'm sorry, like I've had a fight with the concrete, I guess the road at like 15 miles an hour, and I did not win. Like I need at least something covering me, not only because of like this sun, you don't get sunburn or whatever, but like if I fall, which is bound to happen, it's not gonna hurt as much. Like I still have scars on my knees, like my elbow. Like I was lucky that my face doesn't really scar. I got some stitches here, and I took a big old chunk from the inside, so inside of my mouth. So they were off by like 2 or 3 millimeters. If they would have lined up, I would have had a big old hole in my upper lip.
Well, lucky you. Yeah, that's what we call. So in the Navy, we call that a self-correcting error. It's something that you only need to do once, and you'll always remember from then on. We got some more people coming in. Adventurous Rider came in. Old School Dave came in. Ricky Bobber's in. Hey, Ricky Bobber, one of the guys Ricky. I follow a lot. And one of your guys, Trey Pierce, came in. He said, "Make sure that he made it."
So, what's up, Trey?
I'm trying to get Ricky Bobber in on one of the interviews. He's a busy guy, so I'll get him eventually. So what's our next question? Okay, so you go to motorcycle meetups. What kind of meetups? So what's your favorite meetup to go to?
So the small board community has these, like, I guess, two pretty big ones in the summer, and one of them is at one of your favorite places in Barber. So they have a Barber small board event
Love
at
Barber.
the beginning of June, and it's in my bucket list. I haven't gone, but like I would love just to go and just see all the people, like just see the museum, because it's a thing where you can camp out there from like Thursday all the way to Saturday.
Yep.
Oh man, I would love to go over there and just see everything that's in the museum, see all the events, just hang out with people. And then they also have like the following weekend. Usually they do it 1 week, and then the following week is the one in Townsend, Tennessee. And you got a bunch of Ruckuses and mini bikes just riding the tail of the dragon. Like those are two of the ones that I need to make it at some point.
That ride to Barber, especially coming out of Memphis, going into Barber, into Birmingham, that road is like wide open in a valley, and it's like slightly elevated, and it's gorgeous through there. And you can see a nuclear power plant off to one side when you get into, but it's beautiful. And there's like rock faces. They carved it right out of the mountain to make that highway, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. And then when you get on the other side of Barber, or on the other side of Birmingham, headed down towards Mobile, and also heading towards Atlanta, it's just gorgeous. If you keep going toward Atlanta, you end up in the Talladega Forest, and it's just gorgeous out there
too. I've
too.
seen some videos of that, looking amazing.
So Trey says, make sure Andrea's here also, and she says hi.
Oh, what's up, Andrew?
Oh, and the Buc-ee's is right outside of, for all my guys in the Discord, Buc-ee's is right outside of the museum. So literally.
Currently the biggest Buc-ee's, but it's about, they're building another one here in Luling, where one of the original ones are in I-10, and they're making it bigger than that one.
Yeah, first Buc-ee's I ever saw was
with the Texans.
Yeah, first Buc-ee's I ever saw was right outside San Antonio. We were going to SeaWorld, and I stopped at that one. I was like, oh my God, there's so much crap here. And then you started seeing them.
Between Houston and San Antonio? Like on the area? Like an hour out of San Antonio?
Yeah.
That was the first one I ever went to as well.
Yeah. Being from Texas, anything that's an hour away is still pretty close. So I'm sure you understand that. So,
I mean, I used to live in Midland, so the other side of the state.
For any of you guys who don't know, if you're in Orange, Texas, the East Coast, the Atlantic Ocean is closer to you than the other side of Texas. And when you're in El Paso, the West Coast, California coast is closer to you than the other side of Texas. So yeah, Texas is huge.
Like, you can drive like 10 hours across and still be in the same state, depending on where you start.
Yeah, it took us, to get from Lake Charles to El Paso, it took us 12 hours. And Lake Charles is literally like 30 minutes on the other side of the Texas border. It took us 12 hours. Yeah. That's with two kids in the car taking bathroom and eating breaks, but that's still a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I have family in Europe, and they're like, yeah, we just drove 12 hours and went from like through all these like countries.
Different countries.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. So Adventurous Rider says he's wearing a Bucky shirt right now, which
I love Bucky's, regardless of what Whiskey Chaser says.
Yeah, I love Bucky's. If you've never had a mouthful of beaver nuggets, you don't know life. Life is bad. They have so much good food there.
They do. The barbecue sandwiches are amazing. Like they
their
cut them right in front of you.
Sandwiches.
They're nice and fresh. Like they have the sandwiches that are like the club sandwiches. They have the fudge that they give you for free, like little baby pieces, so you can try them all out.
So much good food, and then they have a kiosk in the middle that does roasted nuts. It is. I mean, everything is there. Take an entire Walmart. I mean, a mall food court. It's in a gas station. It really is.
And not only that, but like they're like the cleanest restaurants you'll find. Like traveling with the family, like I know like Chase probably like doesn't understand this, but traveling with the family and like small girls and stuff, like you can't just stop at like a random gas station, because like it's hit and miss whether or not that is
Texaco won't
blown
do.
Up to,
Absolutely.
But man, I go into Buc-ee's, like I have there's no chance that those restaurants are gonna be like ugly and looking all disgusting. Like they've always been pristine every time I go, and like every time anybody says anything about Buc-ee's or they're gonna drive by a Buc-ee's, I'm like, man, if only to go to the restroom, just go there, because like it's probably the best stop to go to the restroom you'll find.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna find an open gas pump too. There's literally, and I'm not joking when I say this, there's probably between 30 or 40, depending on which Buc-ee's you go to, 30 or 40 pumps. Yeah. So it's crazy.
They got that. They got like a car wash. You can vacuum your car, like everything.
It is literally is a stop. It is a highway stop. It's for trips. That's what it's for.
Yeah. You go and there's like it's gonna be like a in and out. Like an hour later, you're like, man, we just spent a lot of time on this road trip by Buc-ee's.
I think I'm going to stop at Buc-ee's on the way down this time for sure. Mr. Original Concept just came in. How you doing? He's a new subscriber of mine, so hello.
Yeah, I sent him your way.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes.
He's building a pretty rowdy ruckus at the moment.
Excellent. Then I definitely need to see that. Make sure you post it.
Yeah.
Do you guys got any questions?
Having it for that Townsend event.
Okay. That would be cool. So you're gonna make it a video of that, right?
He will. I won't be going, but he'll probably do it.
Okay.
There'll be a bunch of people. If you like, at the beginning of July, you start looking for like small bore, rally, or like Townsend, Tennessee, like things like that. You'll see videos from both events coming out from a few of the small
awesome.
bore channels out there.
Yeah, and I grew up on a 90cc dirt bike, so I'm excited about any motorcycle. I just love motorcycles, so not a problem. Adventurous Rider says he'll be stopping by a Buc-ee's on Wednesday. I will too. Probably maybe not the same Buc-ee's. I'll be stopping at the Buc-ee's in Birmingham, and then right when I get into Georgia, there's another Buc-ee's, depending on which way I go. But yes, now I'm hungry. Thanks a lot.
There's a Buc-ee's like 20 minutes from where I live. I'm just like, man, now I want Buc-ee's.
Gosh. Well, you're lucky, man. I've got, I'll probably make steak, but that's not Buc-ee's, so. All right.
There's 2 Buc-ee's within a 30-minute radius of where I live, so.
Texas is so good. Yeah, when I was a kid, we used to go to Flying J's because they had awesome food.
Yeah,
but
they did.
So what is not the stupidest, but the scariest moment on a bike?
That first ride on the rain was probably one of the scariest. Like I know, like I busted my face, and like that was pretty bad. But just not being able to have traction or brake because of how much water was. Like I wasn't ready for it. Like I didn't have the right gear. Like my tires are really not. They don't have much thread. I mean, like they're regulars, like road tires, but they were not ready for that rain. And so
for the rain,
not having traction at the beginning, trying to go off, and not being able to stop because you just skidded along the way because these don't have ABS or anything. Man, that was probably scary, and it's probably driven me away from riding in the rain pretty much since then.
It's a different feeling, and it's one of those things
that
if you've never done it before, you don't know, you're apprehensive, and then once you do it, that's when you decide if you can handle it or not. This is something I'll do again. This is something I won't do again.
Like I'll probably do it, just not on the Ruckus.
Yeah,
it was just not a fun experience on the Ruckus, especially because you're so low that like any car going by you, like spraying water,
it's
like
down.
just gonna get right on your face.
Yeah,
like I sit on there and I sit lower than the driver on the car next to me. So yeah,
which is a weird feeling. When I'm on the BMW, I'm higher than everybody else, so my vision is better. I can see things.
Truck almost.
Almost, yeah. I'm literally I'm a guy in F-150. Me and him were the same height in the truck. That was. Trey Pierce has a question for you. His wife's going on a trip. Do you have any tips for long distance riding on a small CC motorcycle?
Man, you need to make sure that you have a place to move your legs, like stretch them out. I have some forward pegs on my Ruckus that whenever, like, 'cause usually you're kind of sitting and like almost like a less than a 90-degree angle on your knees on the usual pegs that people put on there. But being able to stretch out, put your legs out a little bit, and just take breaks, man. Honestly, you'll probably run out of gas before you expect to. So just make sure you have enough planning along the way, that there's enough gas stations, or if you have like a canteen or something with gas on it, so you can make sure you make it to the next one. Because not only will you have to push it, but that's never fun though.
It's never fun to push a bike
in the summer.
Not even a small one. No.
No.
So
I can't even imagine a big one.
Oh no. What has been your favorite part of motorcycle riding?
You know, honestly, like I didn't get it until I actually started riding, but people don't understand how it feels, and like that adrenaline that you get, and getting out of a ride and just like being happy. Like a lot of people call it like throttle therapy, and honestly, like there's no better word for it. It just feels amazing, and like being able to hang out with people that like do the same thing. they like riding and stuff like that. Like my daughter, I bought her a Razor MX 650, which is like an electric dirt bike, and it goes like 17 miles an hour. But like she rides, like I get on my bicycle and like she rides around and like she loves that. And just seeing how happy she is, and it's one of those things that like I wish to pass that on to her. And also the little one sees her sister like ride on it, and she's just like, I want that. Like she wants to get on it. Just like, man, I need to get you some gear because I know what happens if you fall.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Mom's not going to be excited.
No, that's when you get in trouble. Mr. Original Concept Garage says they are a silver sponsor of Smoky Mountain Small Bore Rally 2023 to help bring a charity organization formerly called Operation Combat Bike Saver, now called Operation Charlie Bravo, to get our own garage. So if you want to drop that information below, I love doing charities. Drop that information below, drop a website link, and we'll check that out, and everybody else can too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So see, bikers aren't all bad.
No, bikers are awesome. Great. Yeah, we like to say, so military guys and motorcycle guys understand it because most of the time we're all from very varied backgrounds, but very troubled backgrounds. And once we make it and once we do good things, that's when we want to start helping other people. So you'll find motorcycle riders and military people are usually the most generous, most charitable people you'll find. So, yeah.
No, definitely. I agree. But, like, they always, for some reason, get a bad rep. You know,
that's because people are scared of us.
Especially motorcycle guys.
Too much testosterone. Even the girls. If you've never met Nicole, that girl has some testosterone. But I love her. All right. What has been the most frustrating part of riding for you? You've talked about riding beside cars in the rain. What else is there?
Yeah, that's horrible. Whenever I first did the swap on the Ruckus, I had a lot of issues with like the fuel system because I had the stock fuel pump in it, and it wasn't enough to keep enough gas in the bowl of the carburetor to keep the bike running. So, and like it now thinking about it, it's like such a simple like solution, such a simple problem, but like I racked my brain because like I never had that experience in the past. I did this is my first bike, and so I was just racking my brain what it could be, and like I would try to ride. Like there's actually like a series on my like a playlist on my channel. It's like the Murphy's Law series, and it's just videos of me just like breaking down. And like in the Ruckus community, we have a thing called the Kiss of Life. So the gas tank is where you put your feet, so it's at the bottom. And so it's not gravity fed, so you have to have some sort of pump to get it up to the carburetor, which is where you're sitting, right? So like you have to open up, you have to blow into it, which calls it the Kiss of Life, and then get enough gas into the bowl to get it started. I mean, like a lot smarter people than me now have started to put a check valve from like the original Ruckus fuel line on there to prevent that from happening. So you don't have to do that, but a lot of like the people that swap the engine have problems with like the batteries because the fuel doesn't like it's not there, and so they just keep cranking until the battery dies and nothing happens, and then they start getting aggravated and they end up selling their bikes because it never runs. They give this engine a bad name.
That's something I would do just to show off. It's like, yeah, this is how I start my bike. I start my bike like this every time.
And I remember I put like Careless Whisper in the background of the video when I did that. Like I said the camera, and I was just like,
that's excellent.
It looked like I was making out the bike. It was funny. I mean, now it's funny and like I can laugh because I know what the problem was, but it was incredibly frustrating for a long time.
It's always funnier afterwards. After you fix it. Always makes a good story.
It was funny. It was funny when I was editing it, you know, because like I was just like, I can't just be angry at this. Like there needs to be something good out of it, and like I need to make that into like a short or something for YouTube and Instagram, so it starts like picking up speed. But man, it's so funny because like I call it the Kiss of Life.
I actually like that. And that's excellent. I'm gonna start doing that on the Beamer W too. I gotta blow into the tank to get it to start. All right, so Trey Pierce has a question. What is your top 3 dream builds? So let's limit it to one. What is your
top dream build? So there's, I think honestly, like I have a pretty good one back here with the CT70, but there's these people in, I think it's Indonesia or Thailand that make the Honda Monkey into a chopper. So it's actually going to be my answer to later on in your questions, but it looks amazing. And I talked to them and stuff, And after I got the bill of how much it would be, I was like, nah, man, that's way out. Like it'll be like $10,000, and then you still have to ship it. And I'm just like, man, that's too much.
That is insane. I
But
saw
they look amazing.
there's this Russian girl. She lives in Britain now, but she goes to all these home built shows. And all the shows she goes to are ride it shows. And she does a lot of small bore stuff. And one she did was a dirt bike that somebody, and it was an old, like a Royal Enfield, like a 200cc. And somebody had built that into a just absolutely gorgeous chopper. And I'm thinking, I would rather ride that one than any of the other ones that are there because it looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. So something you'd be just very cool to ride.
There's a dude that make a scrambler build out of a TW200, and that one also pulls out my heartstrings. It's beautiful.
I think this one's
about a fat rear wheel that just gets me.
I think the girl's name is Tomboy a bit.
Oh yeah. I think she has shown up. I don't think I've seen all her videos, but her videos keep getting recommended to me.
She does very cool. She does very cool videos, and I like, I mean, we talked about this before, but if I'm going to watch somebody, I want to watch good content. I want to watch something that I would, want to do or ride or go to myself. Yeah. And she always goes to places that are so cool and rides bikes that are, not like let's compare that to what was it, Supercar Blonde. Those are cool looking cars, but this stuff I would never actually ride. I can't see myself getting in those. She does these bikes that are like these, 500, 600cc, 800cc bikes in Thailand and Singapore and Africa and the islands, and that's the stuff I'd actually just love to get on. So I just love her stuff. I love her content. If you've never seen it, it's called Tomboy a Bit. She's a Russian girl who's now in Britain.
I gotta take a look at those for sure.
It is very cool.
They've been recommended for me, but every time I think she's working on like a little bigger bikes now. So her new videos show up, and like they're just bigger bikes that like I do like, but I need to go back into her old stuff to see their smaller ones because I'd be definitely interested.
Yeah, it is very cool stuff. She goes to very cool shows. One of them was in a prison, and they had basically took the motorcycles into an old prison and set them up in the cells and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would think so. It'd be crazy trying to get these nice bikes into cells, but I guess.
But imagine just doing that and like not only the show, but some of the pictures you could get with that, like some good lighting inside.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that sounds.
That'd be good backdrops. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So. It's a new year. We're into March now. What are your plans for the new year? What are you planning on? What shows are you going to go to? What meetups are you going to go to? What are you planning on doing with your bikes? You talked about you got a bike on the rack on the desk back there.
Yes.
What are you doing?
So the first thing I'm going to do is the Ruckus was out of my house for a while, and I have to go through all the wiring and stuff, make sure it's good, like clean up the harness so it doesn't look like a rat nest inside of the battery box like it used to. Get it back up to speed is the first thing. And I'm doing like a Make the Ruckus Great Again kind of series. And when I first built this Ruckus back when my 8-year-old was like a year and a half, she helped along the way. It's such a core memory for her that she loves the smell of the garage. Like randomly she'll open the door to the garage and just go in there and just take a big old whiff and just go out. She was just like, I just love the smell of the garage. And so obviously with my wife's permission, and like we asked my daughters like, hey, would you be okay to making some videos with me to get the Ruckus back up to speed? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So that's going to be the first thing we do. We'll bring the Ruckus back up to its glory days and kind of get me back into like filming and getting good angles and B-roll and stuff. And then excuse me, once that's done, then the CT7 we'll make it up there. And I did a kind of like a mock-up of what it's going to look like, and it actually fits there. So it's going to keep the garage with enough room to where I can still park my 2 cars in here. So I'm pretty excited to get that taken care of.
I'll tell you in advance, some of your best content is going to come with your daughter helping you in the garage.
Oh, for sure.
It's nobody will look at you like you're stupid, like your kid. Your own kid will look at you like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah. Two Wheels Down just showed up. Welcome in. Yeah, that's gonna be exciting for you.
I'm pretty pumped. It's just finding the time. She's in spring break this week, so maybe we can sneak into the garage a few days during the week and get some content done on it.
Okay.
Build it up and have her I'll love to teach her all the tools and things like that, so that in the future, if she wants to do a build or if she is stranded out there, she kind of knows how to take care of things. One of those things I like. I really want to teach both my daughters just if like change tires, like know how to change the oil, like see things in the car that like that way they don't get taken to town if they ever go to a mechanic. And
Oh yeah, we I took my daughter out. We did a tune-up on my Forte Coupe, and we did spark plug wires. We changed the air filter, did the oil change. So I'm like, and you're right. They will take you to town on this stuff, and they'll tell you, oh man, yeah, that's a $500 job there when it takes $20 worth of spark plugs and some cable. And I've done it more than once with friends of mine when I was up in Chicago in the Navy, because you had a lot of people, really smart people that weren't mechanically inclined, and they would take them to town, just take all their money.
Yeah, and like I know like the dealer, like we've been to a Subaru dealer and they're like, yeah, and you have to do this and this, and like I'm gonna charge you like $100 to change your windshield wipers. I'm like, what? It's like, no, I'll do that myself. It's like I remember it was like, well, it's included, and I was like, no, I'm not paying $100 for you to change that, like that, because that's just like the labor. I'm like, it's gonna take me like 5 minutes to do it. Like
you're looking at $10 in parts and $200 in labor. Yeah, no kidding.
I'm just like, no, like I'm not doing that.
Aaron is asking, what is your favorite food place to ride to?
Oh man, there's actually like a Colombian place nearby that has some bomb food. Like there's a lot of Colombian places here, but this one's called Las Caleñas. And on Saturdays, they make this soup that's known in Bogota, where I'm from. It's called ajiaco, and it's like a potato soup. And it's got like 4 different types of potatoes. But man, they only make it on Saturdays, and they open at 11. And if you show up at 2, they're done. They've sold out of it. And so that's kind of like the meal that we get as a family for like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that, like New Year's. And this past year, they didn't make it. And so we looked around for another Colombian place, and they're like, we have it. And it was like, okay, let's go get it. And never again will we do that. We're going back to Las Caleñas because not even close.
Yeah, we have the same problem with pho here. We find a good pho place, and not long after we eat, maybe two or three times there, they close it down. And then we'll find another place, and it sucks. Find another place, it sucks. Find another place, it's good. We'll eat there through, because I hate to say this. It doesn't matter what the ethnicity is. If you find a very good restaurant, it's usually a hole in the wall, because the people who make the food very, originally can't afford a big place, can't afford a big restaurant. Yeah. They find a place that's like an old gas station, and that's where they set up the restaurant, or a small little strip mall.
Dude. Now that you say that, there was a taco place in one of the gas stations, like about 20 minutes from me. It was so good, and it's like one of those places that like they only take cash. You show up, like they only speak Spanish, and it was so good. They actually remodeled the gas station, and I haven't looked into where they went because they're not inside anymore. But yeah, those are the best places, because it's one of those things that like their family and friends are like, this is so good. You should start my business. You should start selling. And obviously, it's like a mom and pop shop that doesn't have like the budget to open up a brick and mortar, and they end up
and they can only afford like 5 menu items. So, but that's usually the best.
But they're good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am really hungry now. How much longer we got? Okay. Okay, so if someone asked you today, hey, I want to get into motorcycling, what kind of bike should I get?
So I'm gonna be a little biased towards the smaller bikes, but honestly, like if they can get like a Honda Grom, it'll teach you how to shift. Some of the new ones have like ABS, and the barrier of entry is a lot lower, especially if you want to modify it once you're good with it and stuff. The parts are not going to be as expensive as what you would find like trying to do a Harley or like a 600. The exhaust and like the higher end parts like will actually be almost up to that level. But I feel like you can start in like tinkering and teaching yourself how to work on your bike for a lower cost than some of these other bigger bikes.
Oh yeah.
Like I know Chase does his thing with his Yamaha Bolt and everything, but I guarantee you that like for half the amount of money he has into that, you could get like some like 2 grams or something.
Oh yeah.
Just mess with them.
Yeah, when you come out, you've got to see Jerry's Grom. Jerry has done so much stuff to this Grom. I'm talking Journey of Jerry. Comes to every camp out. But has done so much stuff to, and it is really souped up. So that's like the pinnacle of the campouts is what Jerry's bike's going to do this year and who gets to ride it. So and then they have mini bike races around the campground. It is absolutely fun.
And there's a dude here in town that stretches them and lowers them and puts a CBR 300 engine in them.
Oh Lord,
It's become a pretty common swap. He goes like over 100 miles an hour in that thing. It's insane.
somebody was just talking. I think it was one of your friends was talking in here. I think it was Mission Original Comset was talking about a engine swap. Can't find it now. Well, damn it.
I wish I could. I was following up on YouTube. I could see what he was talking about.
All right, so
yeah, I think he's doing a pretty massive swap. I know that.
Yeah, I want to say he was doing a. Okay, 2 Wheels Down was saying he had a Yamaha BWS and he changed it from a 49cc to a 150cc. That's a big jump.
That's what we did with. That's what I did with the Ruckus. The Ruckus is originally 49cc, and I did the Chinesium engine swap that everybody does, and it's now a 150. But I can make this one into a 171. But I've seen people put like 232cc engines in here. I'm just like, I don't want that much like speed that much. Like I just want to get from one place to the other. I'm not trying to race anybody.
Yeah, you talk about being a Chinese engine, but I think the veil has been lifted on a lot of these parts.
Yeah.
Because so somebody was telling me the other day.
Harley riders that.
Well, it's this. The veil has been lifted because so the Burley fairing sells on like Revzilla. It sells it like the Cycle Gear for like $350. The exact same fairing is made in a Chinese factory, and it's called Crador. The Crador fairing is $99. It comes with the Burley instructions and the Burley parts kit. They're made in the exact same factory. So somebody today was giving me crap about they literally do. On that one, they don't even rebrand it. They just put a different box on and put a label on it. It's the exact same box when you open it up. But the my tent, I just got the new Wolfwalker tent. It is the exact same tent. It's the exact same tent as the Lone Rider. It's the exact same. It just has a different branding on it. And somebody was giving me crap about spending. Yeah, it's literally a quarter of the price. It's the exact same thing. Has all the exact same parts. And I've gone through people's setups and I've watched them set it up. I was like, that's exactly the same as mine. So
yeah, like other than possibly having different material, like it looks the same. I saw that. And I was like, man, it's got the garage. It's got all the plates. Like it looks pretty good. And I'm looking forward to see you test the other Forgotten Rangers.
I'm looking forward to testing it too. But yeah, be a smart shopper. I mean, some of this Chinese stuff you're going to get is going to be a lower price. But I mean, if you look, the perfect example is going to Amazon and look up anything like a phone holder or a microphone. Yeah. They give you all the exact same stuff. It looks exactly the same. It's colored the same. It's branded the same. It's got the same little symbols on it, but the labels are different. Mm-hmm. But they're the exact same parts.
I've seen that. I mean, like specifically to this engine, a lot of people give it crap because they say it's not as reliable. And honestly, like if you do your wiring correctly, that's probably more than half of the issues that you find. But I mean, I'm not saying the Honda wasn't better. Like I love the original engine, but at 49cc, when I lived in Midland, I was getting run out of the street by like truckers and oil tankers. Like regardless of how much tuning I would do to that engine, yeah, I could get it to 50 possibly, but the speed I get to 50, it's a lot safer for me to do.
You can only do so much, yeah.
There's no room, there's no replacement for displacement, as the big boys say.
Yeah, no replacement for displacement, yeah. So if you could start anywhere, you don't have to start from home, anywhere in the world and ride, where would you go and where would you ride to?
So I've been thinking about that. Like at first I was like, I can go to like the Pyrenees in like an enduro bike, like maybe like a 300L or something, like a Honda, and just do like the twisties up in the mountains. But honestly, like going to Thailand and riding with all the scooters and just feeling like we're in a beehive, just the experience of doing that would be incredible. Cause like I've seen lots of videos and like when I was in Colombia, you could see that like they just lane filter to the front. And if you're at a red light and the traffic is going, you see just like scooters, like a swarm. You can't even see across them. And then you see the cars coming in afterwards. Just being able to ride a scooter probably like in Thailand just to get the idea. And like, honestly, if I could just ride in Colombia where I'm from, like it would be awesome just to have the experience and say that I was able to do that going back.
Yeah.
I've been here for like longer than I was in Colombia. So I've been here for like 20 years. 21 years now. So,
I can't remember where Billy said he was. He went there for a business trip and he rented a scooter and rode it for the week. and he said had a blast. I think it was in Colombia somewhere.
Yeah.
Billy, if you're out in the audience, tell me.
Man.
But yeah, I love going to places like that where motorcycles are king in riding.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, bigger CC engines and bigger CC bikes are so popular here in the States, but like you have people like on 49cc, like 150cc scooters, just literally like 3 people deep just riding down the road over in like India and like Asia and everything. Like I would just love to see all this stuff, because people obviously modified them and make it to where it has more power to be able to carry all those people. But it's their mode of transportation. It's not a hobby or like a secondary mode of transportation like motorcycles tend to be here.
Yeah, this is transportation.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, just being in that different state of mind and seeing everybody be so excited about their mode of transportation being a bike, that it would be amazing to see.
It's like when you go to Mexico and you see the buses that people drive around. That's their primary transportation, but it's also a lot of those drivers will live in the buses. And you'll see that over in Kuwait and Iraq too. So they'll basically just pimp these buses out and put cool paint jobs on them, put cool upholstery on the inside. They'll put little, stuffed animals all over the inside of them. Literally, not only is it their business, but it's their home. So you see some very
Sense8 on Netflix.
No,
it's a series, and there was a dude, I think he was in Africa, and he had a bus, and he put a wrap or a paint job on it, and it was the Van Damme. They had Jean-Claude Van Damme on the side. It reminded me of that. That's how he was known. That's Van Damme. Yeah.
Yeah, but they make them very personal. So very cool stuff.
And people get attached to that particular bus, so like you get
that's your bus.
Community out of the people that ride. Yeah.
I did that when I lived in Orlando. I had one taxi driver that I would call all the time, and his name was Leonard, and he was the one I wanted all the time. And if I saw Leonard driving somewhere, and I'm sure he upset somebody, but I got him so much that if he saw me in downtown Orlando on Church Street, he would stop and pick me up, even if there was somebody else in the car. He's like, you can just sit in the front. But it was just,
let's go.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Have you inspired anyone to ride or wrench on their own bikes?
So when I first read that question, I was like, I don't know. And then I looked back, and like all the people that like have left comments on my old videos and stuff, and I've seen people pick up Ruckuses and actually ride smaller bikes around. Like, I'm not getting an army of like Harley riders, but there's a few people that like still to this day like leave comments on there and be like, hey man, because of you, like I got a Ruckus and I'm trying to like fix it, like, or before I get this Ruckus that I'm looking at, what would you say? And like honestly, the first thing I tell them is like, just buy it used. Do not buy it like right off the lot, because like it's the same bike. It hasn't changed in almost like 20 years, right?
Yeah. It's like buying a KLR.
Very little things. Yeah, it's like just get a used one. You're gonna mod it anyway. You're probably gonna change the engine and everything on it. The only thing you need is a frame that has a valid VIN. And then, like I did, like the only thing left on my Ruckus that's actually Honda is like the rear frame, the front frame, the triple tree, and the plastics. Everything else I've pretty much done aftermarket fix to it. So that's one of the first things I tell them, and they're usually pretty thankful, because the first thing they were going to do was go to the dealer and get one right off the lot. Which, I mean, if that's what they want, I mean, that's fine. But
yeah, if you want the newest, best, finest, I mean, this ain't it.
Yeah, it's gonna look the same.
Well, and the funny thing is, if you want a reliable motorcycle, you go to these Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki. You don't get their newest bike; you get their most reliable bike that's been their bread and butter for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because that's their most reliable bike, because that's the one that they want to keep putting out. That's their bread and butter.
Currently, they sell out of like Groms like crazy. Like, I know, they kind of cannibalized themselves when they released the Grom, because like the Ruckus scene was insane, right? Like, and then around 2013, 2014, when the Grom came out, like everybody started getting Groms, and a lot of the people that rode Ruckuses moved on to the Grom and either sold their Ruckuses or they're just sitting in the garage. But they had such a cult following for the Ruckus that like we're still kind of dwindling there. But as soon as like people started getting Groms and like stunting them and making videos on them, like doing road trips on them, people go literally the same, like Patagonia to like Alaska in a Grom, like across, like that's the bike that they use for their road trips. And you get like over 100 miles to the gallon. Like, yeah, you could probably barely hit 65 or 70. But if you're around town, like you can fill up once every 2 months, and just like it's the cheapest mode of transportation, and I think it's just so reliable. Even if like I guess if you don't mess with it, obviously anytime you're gonna mod your bikes, you have the liability of potentially messing things up. But they're incredibly reliable, and everybody that has them loves them.
Yeah, I think anybody that is worried about wrenching on their bike, if you get one of these more standard type bikes, even if you make a mistake, it's easy to fix it. And even if you make a mistake that's not reversible, it's easily fixable because it's not going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. When you said like, what bike would you tell like a first time rider? It's like just get one of like a secondhand ground. There's insane amounts of people that have modified them. They have their old stock parts that like are just sitting there because they've put like a big bore kit on there, and so like they have like their stock exhaust because they put out a louder one because I mean like you can dump like $10,000 into a ground and like make it look amazing, right? But like you don't have to. You can just have a buddy in Dallas in Fort Worth area, and he just has a standard like the first generation Grom, and he rides it to work. The only thing he does is just like he needs to change his chain on it, but other than that, like he just keeps riding it. He loves it.
Mini Bike Mike's Garage says he loves your shirt.
Oh yeah, I was gonna see if you showed up. I wear it on purpose.
He's in there. I wore this in for Aaron. So me and Aaron have this thing about video games. So I wear video game shirts. I do it for Aaron. If I'm not wearing somebody, so if I'm interviewing someone, I'll try to wear their shirt or whatever they ride. If not, I'll wear something that's video game related because I have so many video game people in my cult, my following. Nice. But it's just fun. I just love it. Adventure Riders.
Going back to Mike, he has some awesome videos. Just building CT70s, and he's building like a chopper style one right now. That man, you guys gotta look that up. It's looking so good.
Carson's got a trip out, so everybody tell Carson goodbye. It was nice having him. I got to get him on the show too. So Carson, Adventurous Rider, is the one who is convincing me to get a KLR or a DLR or something that I can go off-roading in, where we can do the Transamerica Trail together, because he's already done it once and he's gone through some of these back roads and these dirt roads all the way from Gulfport up to Memphis. So
he has the Africa Twin, right?
He's got the Africa Twin, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just saw his video this week with the LED lights.
Yep, he makes really good content. He's very thorough. He makes good contents on tire changes and the stuff he's done. And his camera stuff is really cool. So, yeah. Yep. Friend of mine, I've fed him barbecue. I claim him. He's my guy. All right. If you could tell a new rider one thing you had to learn the hard way, what would it be?
I mean, I already talked about it. Wear your gear. Wear a helmet. Wear a helmet and gloves, at least, if you're not going to wear anything else. Like, your head is not going to win against the concrete, and the first thing you're going to want to do is put your hands down so you don't hit it. And if you have just any gardening gloves at this point, like, just have something, because if not, it's going to hurt. Learn from other people's mistakes, and not firsthand, because that hand is going to hurt.
Yep. It's hard sometimes when somebody tells you, listen, you need to do this, and this is the reason. And you're like, okay,
sure.
Okay. And then later you're like, that's why. And even your kids.
I told you.
Yeah. You tell your kids and you tell them, here's what you shouldn't do, and this is what could happen. And hopefully, they're going to try it anyway, but hopefully somewhere along the lines, they see it's evolving into exactly what you told them, and they'll turn back. And that's all you can wish for. They're not going to learn 100% the first time, but hopefully they've listened to you enough to realize what you told them was going to happen is actually going to happen. So the first time they fall and don't hit their head, you go, that's what could have happened. Yep. Pillion said one person you were teaching to wrench on their own bike was your daughter.
Yes, that is true. That is very true. And we're about to embark on something, I guess, relearn what she learned when she was 1.5 years, and now it's an 8-year-old. Probably stick a little better, and she's incredibly excited. We just gotta find the time to do it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm teaching mine. So I was a combat lifesaver in the Navy, and I was also a medical responder in the civilian world. And I'm teaching my 16-year-old medical and how to do her check a heart rate and how to bind wounds. Yep. Like my oldest daughter is a paramedic now. She just passed her paramedics test. So it's kind of a thing we kind of passed
Following
around.
your footsteps.
It's very cool. It's very cool. It's not my primary job, but it's like I learned it because you kind of had to. You know, in the military,
Yeah.
I think Mr. Original Concept was talking about how, you know, in the military, you always have to learn something, and you just keep growing off of it. And one of the things I taught was military, was medical, and just kind of grew from there into something that's been very applicable my entire life.
Yeah, and not only that, but after you retire from the military, you could have that as like your first fallback job if you don't have something lined out. You can still do that.
And even if you don't use medical, it's always good to know because people always hurt themselves.
It'll come in handy at some point.
People always hurt themselves.
If you're trying to do long trips like Trans-American Trail, like that may come in handy. Hopefully, you don't need to use it, but if you do, you have.
I was just packing my medic bag for this trip going down to Tampa. So me and my daughter got together. We talked about what we needed for the trip and what I needed to put in the bag, and it was very, very educational for both of us. What is one thing most people may not know about you?
This is a somewhat recent thing that I picked up is cooking. So we used to get a lot of the frozen meals and eat like that, but like during COVID when we had to stay home and like I worked from home and stuff, so we started getting these boxes. It's called like Every Plate. It's owned by like HelloFresh. It's literally the same thing. It's just cheaper and it's not boxed individually by the meals. You just have to separate it once you get home. But like following the recipe and like learning and like getting the taste and everything for the whole family and make sure like things ingredients come in. I was like, they're not like this. Like I'm gonna substitute it for this. And like, at first I was following the instructions pretty strictly, but now I kind of just like wing it and just like I know how this goes, and like they eat it, they love it, and honestly seeing them eat something that you make, man, it's awesome.
Yep.
Like, also there's the other side of the coin where just like this looks gross. It's like you just eat it. But that's the sad part of it. But I really enjoyed cooking a lot lately, and it's one of those things that like I get off work, I hang out with the girls. We haven't really gone back to the park. The thing was like I got off work, we went to the playground, came back, made dinner. But they're starting to see that like I enjoy cooking, and so they start to help. My 8-year-old, now that she knows how to read, she comes in and reads the instructions and kind of learns to see how I'm doing things. It's kind of nice to see the progress, and then seeing her also get excited. And my little one also likes to sit on the counter and see what's going on.
Yep. We got HelloFresh and started doing HelloFresh, and my daughter, the one that's 16 now, started keeping the recipe cards. And that's the big thing is, and I think that's the cool thing about HelloFresh is they give you cards. So they send you the stuff you need, and then they tell you to get extra stuff, but now you have the cards. So now you can go buy your own stuff. Recipe. Yeah. So it's actually very cool.
We did that too. I have like a binder full of them.
Okay, so now we get into hard thinking questions. If you could buy any bike right now and you had to own it forever, what would it be?
Oh man, that Zeus custom monkey that I was talking about earlier. Like it's out of my price range, but I would love to just ride that bike. Like I talk to the guy, I go every now and then to his Instagram, his Zeus custom, and you can look at them. I've sent, like, I'm sure Trey knows, I've sent him a few of them. I'll try to send you a link to them as well so you can look at them.
Yep, drop a link down in the comments where everybody can... Actually, everybody, drop a link, drop what your favorite bike is, your small bore bike, let's say under 200 cc's. What is your favorite small bore bike? Drop it down in the comments.
Let me find it and I'll get into it.
Okay.
Sorry, it's going to take a little time.
Yep. Mr. Original Concept, thanks for serving. Yep, I've retired. And the funny thing is Marines, we always call... the funny thing about the military in general is we always have this rivalry with each other, but then when it comes down to all of the groups together, all the different branches, Marines and the Navy, always together. Always bonded.
All right, so I put that link in there. I don't know if you guys can like copy and paste it from there, but yeah, that's one of the links to the choppers that they build out of the Honda monkeys.
Okay.
I just love the way they look. I hadn't seen anybody because I've seen people lower them and stretch them, and like there's a guy that put a CBR 300 engine in there. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, this is weird because it was about the time that I started watching all the other channels that have like Harleys, Blockhead, and everybody that deals with the big boy bikes. And like, I'm interested in seeing what they do, but like, I don't know if I ever would own a Harley. But when I saw this guy, I was like, oh yes,
something for you. And everybody has their own taste. I mean, you can't. There's
yeah.
The other side of that. There's no replacement for taste. I mean,
yeah.
So what you like is what you like, and that's it.
Yeah, and like I love the way some of these Harleys look. It's just I don't think I ever would see myself owning one. Like I'd ride one if I ever got the opportunity. Like one of those what is the lowrider STs. Like I know they're just like a different fairing, but it looks cool. Like the Pan Americas. Like I was talking to Trey earlier because he released a video today, and he has some pictures of like some Pan Americas that were modded to look like a tracker bike or like almost like a sumo. Man, they look nice. Like I'll be willing to ride one of those. I'll own one of those, but I first have to get the money to buy the Pan America because they can be pricey.
Yeah, the Pan America, they've made a lot of improvements on it. It is a very cool looking bike. I know a bunch of my friends have them, and once they have said my Harley friends that have got them said they were the ultimate Harley and that we'll never go back to anything else. But then they'll ride something else on long distances. But a lot of these guys, that's their end bike. This is the bike I'll have forever. And it's the same thing I feel about my Grand America, my BMW. It's like, this is my forever bike. No matter what else I ever get in my entire life, this is my forever bike. Because you just feel it. You feel it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I have similar, I guess, connection to the Ruckus, not only because like my daughter helped me fix it, but in bike terms, that's kind of like my cruiser bike. Yeah, it doesn't go like long distances, like with the new engine, like the gas tank is like a gallon, like 1.2 gallons. Like it won't take me from here to San Antonio in one fill up, right? But it's like the similar riding style as a cruiser, right? Like I'm there, like I'm chilling, sitting like I'm sitting in the couch. But then that's why this is coming. This is my hooning bike, right? Like I want to learn how to do wheelies. Have you ever seen Classified Moto?
No.
On YouTube. So they build some pretty cool bikes. I think they build Norman Regis' bike for The Walking Dead, if I'm not mistaken. But they have Classified Junior. They call it Junior, and it's a CT70 build that has like inspired countless of rebuilds, like in the CT70 community. And actually, it's kind of what I'm doing. They just stripped the frame to bare metal. They put their sticker on it. They clear coated it, and then just wrote it out and put a bigger engine, I think, on it, and just learn how to wheelie. And it was an older guy. He was like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to wheelie, but never thought I would get to." And you see him, and he's just wheeling in a CT70, and that's kind of what I want to do.
I wish I could remember. So there's a game out now, and it's a zombie survival game. But remember this played it. They said it's a motorcycle game about killing zombies. So I'm gonna have to check it out. I can't remember the name of it is at the moment.
That sounds pretty fun.
But yeah, anytime you see the previews for the game, the dude's on a motorcycle, and you can there's more customization things you can do to the motorcycle than you can to the character. So that's why everybody says it's a motorcycle game about killing zombies.
Sounds great.
So I'm gonna have to put that in the comments later. So I have a Discord. Anybody wants to go into the Discord? It's free. I'm gonna put the link down later, and that way everybody can get in and start talking about this stuff because you can never have enough people talking about motorcycles in a group. That's how I feel.
I freaking love it. Like my family gets tired of hearing me talk about it, so that's why like I started an Instagram talking to people that like know what we like and like motorcycles.
Well, you're in one of my Discords, so yeah, that's how we feel in the Discord. It's like, you go there to talk about your dumb stuff, and because nobody else understands, so it's like I'm gonna go talk to them.
Nobody else wants to hear it anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Stop! You've been talking about this forever. Yeah, no, I get it.
Flip side of the question I just asked you, if you could ride a bike just once, knowing you could never afford it or get on it again, what would it be?
I know this is a popular answer, but the Keanu Arches, man. Like, I know because like I would ride it once, and my adrenaline would just kick in, and then it'd be enough to where like I'm still kind of getting used to it, so I'm not gonna push it to the edge because I know if I ride it again, I won't. Yeah, but they're so cool looking, man.
The biggest fear on some of these bikes is that once I ride it, I'm going to have to buy it. And then I'm going to go broke. Yeah. And I'm going to sell everything I've got because I want to keep this bike.
Yeah, I feel like that's honestly how I got into scooters too. I was just like, because we just had my older daughter, and I was going to get I was really into the Ruckus scene just because I had seen him in college. I wanted to get one. But since I was smaller, like I wanted like a 600, like an R1 or something, like something bigger. But I started realizing that like my adrenaline would get the best of me, and having a daughter at that point, like I felt like I can scratch the itch with the scooter, and also kind of check myself with not having enough power to like if I do something crazy and like I mess up on the ruckus, it's not gonna multiply by however many cc's like a liter bike would have, you know?
Yeah.
Like yeah, you can still get hurt, but I'm not gonna die if I make the same mistake on a bigger bike.
Yeah, there's a difference in getting hurt at 50 miles an hour and getting hurt at 150 miles an hour. Big difference.
Hey, 15 miles an hour still hurts a lot.
Yes, but yeah. That's my fear on. Mine is always, and I've said this before, is the Boss Haas, and I'm afraid to ride it twice because I know whatever I didn't do the first time because I was scared, I would talk myself into doing the second time, and that's when it would kill me.
Because you're comfortable enough to go to there.
Yes,
and that's what gets me about the arch. I feel like if I could only ride it once, like I'll push it a little bit, but not enough to where like I could get into some trouble.
Yeah. Aaron wants to know, have you seen the new small bore Harley X350?
Yeah, the Chinese bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look pretty cool. I think Faro Harley Davidson just got a fleet of them to do their classes, and they put like crash guards on them. They look awesome. I'd be down to ride one of those, but I don't think they're selling him here in the States.
Yeah, they're holding back now. I wish they would have kept the Street 500 because that was a very awesome bike. And when I used to tell people that'd be a perfect Harley to start on. And I guess they didn't sell well enough at the time because Harley was scared of people, that were in their 70s that hated water-cooled bikes. Here it is 10 years later, and just about every bike that Harley makes is water-cooled. It was. I think that bike was a good bike. It was way ahead of its time, and they should have just kept selling them because they would have caught on eventually. But I don't own the company. I don't get to make those calls, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and like for better or for worse, I feel like the way people look, like Harley riders look at smaller bikes, even the Iron, what is the 883?
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, that's, or the Sportster 883 is like, that's a girl's bike. I'm like, it's just a bike, man.
It is.
Just because it's smaller. Like, if we're in town, what are you gonna race me to? The next red light?
Yeah, and I think 883s are awesome, and I've got a 1200, and everybody says, sports are girl bikes. Really, get on it, show me, because one, I know some of these girls ride motorcycles, and they ride meaner than I do. So if you're gonna say that's a girl bike, okay, game on, because like some of these girls will probably outride you. So you can't just break it down into it's a girl bike or a guy bike because. I've seen girls get on 2,000cc motorcycles and ride them like a boss, and I've seen guys get on 50s and ride them like a boss.
I don't know if you've seen Jocelyn Snow. Like she's tiny.
Oh yes.
She's manhandling these huge bikes. I'm like, show me a dude that can do that. Like I can't do that.
Well, if you tell me I ride like Jocelyn Snow, that's a compliment.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like she's a girl. Is that the girl you're talking about? Like awesome.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. And I mean, I have two girls, so like I don't expect them to take that as, like to heart. I'm like, cool. If they tell you you ride it like a girl, like there's a lot of girls out there that like can own and like ride circles around a bunch of guys.
Oh yeah, that's like saying run like a girl. I had a girl in high school outrun me, and it's the most injured I've ever been running because I pulled every muscle in my back trying to outrun her and catch her. So yeah, that's. Don't think that's an insult when you say somebody runs like a girl or rides like a girl because it absolutely is not.
Yeah, that's very similar. Like I ran cross country in high school, and in order to keep like our pace, we had to stay in front of this one girl, and she was like amazing. Like it's one of those things that like practice was hard because you wanted to keep up with her. Yeah. So like I can 100% agree.
That's a lot of motivation.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, like she's a great runner, right? But like somebody's gonna want to make the joke that like you got passed by girls. Like at the end of the day, I probably did. But she's an amazing.
Yeah, but look who it was. Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up running in college. Like she got a scholarship for it. Like she was that good. So
it's like saying Danica Patrick was the number 3 driver when she quit. Yeah, but look how many people she passed. So what if she was only the number 3 driver? What about the other 50 people that were on the track? Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's their excuse?
Yeah, no kidding.
You can't have it both ways.
What is your toxic trait?
That I look at too many scooters, man.
Is that toxic?
I mean, depending on who
you talk like that's a bad thing.
No, it's not bad, but I just don't have the money to buy all of them. But like, if I could, like, I would sell my Fiesta and like just line the spot in the garage where the where it was parked just with bikes. Also, like, I started to get into key trucks, like very heavily, and like I'm this close to selling my Fiesta to buy one.
And
I
that
don't even know what a key truck is.
Well, we had them out at the
Like,
refinery. Yeah, they drive them around the refineries. So and I love those things. And I found a place that sells them, and they're only like, I think it is. I can't remember the name of the place, but
Mayberry mini trucks.
Mayberry, yes. So I'm like, those actually look very cool.
They look awesome, and I want one so bad. Like, it won't go over 65, so like they'll be around town. Like, but like the dream build would be to have that, and then to have the mini bikes on the trunk and like take it to a car show. It's like move over everybody.
Wouldn't that not be cool? Take a mini truck and tow mini bikes with it. That would.
Yep.
That's a flex.
That's the dream.
That's
man.
a big flex.
Like, you thought I was getting all the attention before just with the scooter, man. Just, I have a buddy that has a key truck, and he goes to car shows and he steals attention too. I'm just like, let's show up with 2 mini bikes in a mini truck. Let's see how much attention you can really get.
That would be awesome. Last question, and you can't say that backpack you just did the video on. What one piece of equipment or item or gear, whatever, will you always ride with? You'll never leave behind.
Honestly, my helmet. Like, I feel naked when I wear like gloves, but I can deal without it. But I've been burned way too much. Like that one time that I hit my face. Like, I didn't break any bones because I'm incredibly lucky. But I think gear and probably my fanny pack that has some of the spare parts and some tools, just because if I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere, like if I can somehow get the bike running and to get or somewhere safer than just the side of the road, I call that a win. So yeah, not the backpack. It's a cool backpack.
That was a cool backpack. I knew you was going to say that. Yeah. So now you can talk about the backpack, because yeah, I saw that. So I have a backpack like that, but it's not quite like that. But talk about yours.
So it's a nomadic Peter McKinnon everyday bag, right? So it's not made for motorcycles, but it's made for like camera gear and things like that. But the way I would be riding it would be to make content on riding. So like, I want to have all my stuff in there. It has different ways to like set it up to where you have more room at the top, or like you can open all the side and all your stuff is in there in like little cubbies that go into the backpack. You can set those up however you want. It was a bit pricey, but man, like I love the way it is. Like I use it as my work bag now, just because like I want to use it every day and get all the use out of it. And so far I had no complaints. It's supposed to be water resistant, but I did buy like the rain fly. Yeah. That
very cool.
Like I'm probably never going to use it, but it's always in the backpack just in case, because like I know how rain is here in Texas. I would hate to be caught out there with like my computer, like I don't know, if I ever get a drone or something, like some cameras in there, like I don't want any of that to get wet. So
yeah, I have a backpack like it, and I have used that Rainfly, and it's awesome. And I thought,
for sure.
Yeah, the one I have, it actually attaches underneath the backpack, and it's in a little zippy hole.
Nice.
So if you need it, you just unzip it, you pull it out, and pull it over the top of the bag. It's so cool.
Yeah,
I love it.
So this one just came in like a little separate pack that like is part of the Rainfly. So when you unfold it, it's still part of it, and then you just kind of stuff it back in there. But I do have to find a place for that inside the backpack to carry it. But I have enough room in there, and like I wouldn't leave that like at home at all. Like if I'm taking the backpack, that's coming with me, just because whatever I have in there is definitely going to be worth more than like the backpack.
Oh yeah. When I was driving the Sportster, I didn't have the CC bar and the bags on it. That's what I wore every day, the backpack, and it was awesome, absolutely. And it was cool enough, and it was padded enough to put my my Kindle in and my Fire.
Nice.
So it's like it held in my lap. I put my laptop in it. It was everything held, and I was not worried about it crushing it. I was not worried about smashing it because it did have a solid back to it. So yeah, I love those backpacks, and it's one of the few purpose built things for motorcycles that I absolutely can say that's an excellent idea.
Nice.
So
yeah, and like this one is not like hard shelled or anything, but it does hold its shape pretty well. And one of the good things that it has is like I can set it on the table and it stands.
Yeah. Like
it doesn't fall over just because it has a flat bottom and everything. So it's pretty awesome. But I haven't taken it. Like if I take any long distance road trips, I'll probably come.
Excellent. All right, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions for me?
I do actually.
Okay.
You talked about that Suzuki 90 last weekend. How was your experience with it?
I love that.
I know
bike.
you were younger.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's you talk about, it's not the displacement, it's the feeling you get when you ride it. And being with my first motorcycle, comparing it to the BMX I was riding before, dude, it was a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, and it probably didn't do, but probably 50 miles an hour. But I mean, I didn't have to pedal. I could just hang on. It was a rumble all over your body because it was, a single cylinder thumper.
You can feel it.
And you can feel the power. Not vibration, power. So, it was probably the same thing. But
do you still have it?
I do not. I wish I did, because everything that was wrong with it when I sold it, I got it when I was 10, probably sold it when I was 12 because my stepbrother had gotten a Desert Rat. So it was a bigger bike, it was faster, so we started riding it instead. But now, I absolutely wish I would have kept it. But I mean, I guess one of your life lessons, the things you do, and I've totally outgrown that. And then later in life, you're like, I wish I still had that. So
it's one of the things I'm so scared of, selling the Ruckus. I've thought about it a few times where I'm just like, if I sell it, I'm going to regret it the whole time. So have you looked for some more Suzuki 90s?
I have looked at them, and again, none of them were blue. Yeah, none of them were painted with a brush. So I've seen them, and I don't know. I guess they just didn't have the same character because it's not the same bike. I will eventually probably try to get one just so I can say I have another one. But I mean, I think a lot of the character of getting it, a lot of the draw to that bike was I got it. It wasn't running. It was missing some hoses. It didn't have an air filter. It wouldn't turn over. It was seized up. And fixing the bike up myself, it was an auction.
Because you got it at a flea market, right?
It's a flea market auction. So it was a flea market. Every weekend they would auction off a bunch of stuff because people literally, if you've never been to a flea market, especially in Texas, I'm sure you've been to all the big ones in Texas. Yeah. They're full of junk, and people will come in, and the stuff you haven't sold by the weekend, they auction. And so people will come in and just auction everything off, and then they have more room for more junk. So, and they're so much fun because you find so much cool stuff. But that's one of the things they auctioned off. Somebody had got it, and it didn't sell during the week, and at the end of the month they had an auction, and they auctioned it off, and it was $50. So I'm like, I absolutely had to have it. So, yeah. But I spent all that time getting it fixed up and doing it, and that was probably half of the affection of the bike was that I got it running myself.
That it was running because of you. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. And I feel like, I don't know, the problem with getting smaller bikes like that, in my opinion, is if I end up having enough money, I would love to have the garage that Mike has. He has, I don't know how many CT7s, and he has them. He puts different engines on them. He doesn't go too much into the rest of them on. They keep them pretty stock looking. And I don't even know how many he's got. He's got to have at least 20 of them. They're just all there in his garage, and they look amazing. Because I would get into a lot of trouble if I had that many there, because I'll just be looking for them all the time. Kind of like I do now. But if I had the money, they would physically be here.
Okay. Mr. Original Concept, are you asking about the backpack?
Man, I wish I had it here. What was the question?
He's asking for a link, and my wife just said that I would put the link up later. I'll have to we'll look back through it later. So if you guys want to see the live chat, it usually takes about 8 hours for the live chat to go away and then come back, because the screeners go through it, filter everything out to make sure you're not putting weird stuff on there, and then they'll put it back on. So if you guys want to see the live chat later, it usually takes about 8 hours. It'll be available probably by later tonight or tomorrow morning. So,
I didn't know that about live streams from the creator side of things.
Yeah.
Because I think I've jumped into some, and then I was like, "Where's the live chat?" So I guess that's where it is.
Yeah, it comes back in about 8 hours. Some of them are longer. Longer videos take a longer time. The more people chat, it takes, because they do have to scan through it and make sure people aren't just putting weird, random stuff in there.
Or crazy links or something.
Yeah, crazy weird links. Because there's lots of spammers in there that I've seen pop up during the live chat, and then when it comes back out in the video, they're gone. Okay. So they actually filter them out.
Some crazy links get put in especially in bigger channels.
The bots, yeah.
Some stuff.
Shade Tree's channel is full of bots. Yes, yeah. Click here for free pictures, and click here for a free Ferrari. Click here because you've won $1,000, and so it's really weird.
Jump onto Telegram. Let's go.
Telegram, yes. Come to Telegram. Give me your phone number. Yeah, okay. Sure will.
Yeah, pay me there. Yeah.
All right, we are going to go ahead and close out. You can stay on for a little bit if you want to.
Awesome.
And we'll be back later, right? All right, guys, you want to give your all your Instagram and your YouTube information?
Yeah, so my Instagram is smallboard2wheels. Just like and you can find me on YouTube the same way, just smallboard2wheels. I'm getting back into making consistent videos here pretty soon. I'm actually dabbling in doing some of my own merch. I posted some pictures on my Instagram of what I'm working on. So I'm trying to hit the ground running with a lot of things to fall back on so that people, if they want to support, they can. And hopefully I can get there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to all of a sudden you're doing this for fun, and the next thing you know, it's like, hey, I think I'm making money off this. Hey, people want a T-shirt. People want this. Yeah. By the way, if you don't know, if you go to my YouTube, I'm actually selling T-shirts and mugs and stuff with my logos on it. And thanks to Gma Rides, I have one that says, I ride my bike, I don't wash it. So thanks, Gma. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for coming, and I will see you next